Hey, deserving listeners, 90 Day Fiancé, I'm going to react. My name is Dr. Kirk Honda. I'm a therapist and a professor. As I always say, everything that I talk about on this show can be triggering. So, we get into various different topics that can trigger people. So make sure you watch with care. Let's watch.
I come meet your friends only because I not trust you. And I need for my career, and girl who working for wedding planner tell me I need meet new people and talk with people only because this. Only because this.
So I'm confused because Julia, she goes to someone who does wedding planning to get advice on how to get into the business. And the individual says, well, one, you need to work on your English skills, and two, you need to network. You need to meet people. What I would assume the wedding planner meant was you need to meet people in the wedding planning industry or vendors or something. Maybe you work for a catering company for a while, work your way up and learn the ropes or whatever. Not just meet random people. I don't think that's the key. Now, maybe his friend, Brandon's friend, somehow knows someone in the industry, but it's a pretty niche industry. So I'm a bit confused as to what the strategy, or maybe I'm missing something.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Melanie.
Nice to meet you.
TJ. This is Brandon.
Yes.
My first impression about Melanie, how long time she ready for this meeting? And it's like she have dress and like hair for you.
She's literally here with her boyfriend.
Yeah, there's something really odd about this. We saw a little bit of it at the end of last season at the tell-all with Julia, but I didn't know Julia was capable of it. I guess it was never tested last season, but Julia has some very strange cognitions and interpretations of things. She is going to sit down with his old friend who never had a romantic relationship with him. So I understand that maybe for Julia in her neck of the woods, it's very unusual for men and women to be friends. Maybe it's not unusual in the United States. It's not as common, or it's not like it's not stigmatized because it is in the United States, but there are certainly pockets that are totally fine with it. Brandon has an old friend, and the friend is showing up with her boyfriend, and Julia is now talking almost delusionally that the woman came the friend came like looking pretty to attract Brandon to pull him away from her. Let's rewind that. I think that's what she's saying.
Yes.
My first impression about Melanie, how long time she ready for this meeting? And it's like she have dress and like hair for you.
She's literally here with her boyfriend.
Boyfriend, not husband.
Yeah, you see, there's only one answer, and any evidence that contradicts that answer is rejected. She is absolutely trying to look for any evidence that confirms the way she feels. Okay, so it's not like Julia woke up in the morning and said, I'm going to be a jerkface. Why is she like that? Well, probably some kind of trauma, abandonment trauma, probably going back to when she was a child. I don't know, just speculating. Let's continue watching.
So you met his parents, right? And everything.
You live with them.
You lived with him.
Yeah.
Oh wow, you bee farm like before?
Yeah, I've been to the farm.
What do we do in the farm?
Huh?
What do we do in the farm, Mish?
Yeah, we're done doing the farm.
Yes, it's like we get interested.
So Julia finds out that the friend has been to the farm. Yeah, because they're friends, so they visit each other's houses sometimes. So now Julia is, oh, very interesting. So you have a friend that came over to the house that you live in with your parents. That's very interesting. I mean, what is happening? I guess what is so strange about it is that for the first part of last season, Julia exhibited nothing along these lines. And so if she had this behavior before, it would somehow I'm like, where is this coming from? But like I said, maybe it wasn't tested. So I just have to assume that Julia has some kind of massive amounts of trauma around this. The idea goes is that you're living your life, you're looking at the world through innocent eyes, and then something horrible happens to you, either ongoing or an event, a big event, and then you learn, okay, in order for me to retain closeness with other people, I have to control something, and one of the things I can control is how I see the world. And if I choose to see the world in a way in which jealous or in which cheating is around every corner, then maybe that will make it so I can make sure that I don't get cheated on again. It's sort of like you get mugged on the street one day, and for the next week, you don't leave the house. Or when you do leave the house, you carry a gun with you. Or when you leave the house, you're constantly looking over your shoulder. A bad thing has happened to you, and so you're trying to adjust your life so the bad thing won't happen again. And if you have been cheated on or abandoned or divorce happened when she was a kid or something along those lines, you learn, okay, I'm just going to be hypervigilant so that it won't happen again, and then it won't happen. But the problem is with this sort of behavior, what it will result in is distance between you and your partner, which leads to a higher likelihood of cheating. It doesn't justify the cheating, but it does raise the likelihood.
Oh my gosh, so many memories.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It's been a lot.
we used to raid your parents' liquor cabinet. What was that movie that we stayed up all night watching? It was like
The scary one?
Yes.
Now, putting all that aside, there is a bit of impoliteness when you are in a situation like this where Julia will feel like she's being rejected or ostracized or a fifth wheel or something. And you want to try to... Brandon doesn't seem... He's exhibiting some lack of social skills. I didn't show the clip, but when the two of them arrived, when the friends arrived, he didn't introduce Julia to them. They just sat down and he's like, hey, what's up? And then Julia had to introduce herself. She's like, by the way, hello, my name's Julia. Like, basic social skills, which makes me wonder, did the parents help him with his social skills? I don't know. That usually is what it means. Usually parents are responsible for teaching their kids proper social skills. Not always, but so, and in this situation, we also see that Brandon is excluding, or not actively excluding, but talking about something that would make Julia feel excluded. Now, on the other hand, if you're Julia, you have to be differentiated and say, okay, what's my goal here? My goal is to have a good relationship with my husband. My goal is to make Brandon's friends comfortable, make them like me, because these are people that are going to be in my life long term. And so, they're reminiscing about things. They haven't seen each other in a long time. And so, okay, you know what? I feel like a fifth wheel right now, but I'm not going to let it overwhelm me, and not a big deal. I'm confident enough to know that I don't have to constantly be the center of attention. It's fine. This reminds me of this one time with my wife, when I first met her, I met some of her friends. And we were at this really, really loud restaurant, and I was at the end of the table. It was like a bunch of people. And I could not hear a single thing that anyone was saying. And I'm sitting all the way at the edge of the table just by circumstance of when we arrived at the restaurant. And it was this loud concrete building with lots of people talking. And everyone knew each other, and I didn't know I only knew Stacy, but I didn't know anyone else. And so they're all talking, and then eventually they'd kind of turn to me, and I'd be like, oh, what? And for the first 45 minutes, I kept saying, what? I can't hear, what? Oh, I'm sorry. What did you say? Oh, I'm sorry. What? And then after 45 minutes, just like, I'm just going to act like I hear stuff. And so they would all turn to me, and I'd be like, good one. Or I just tried to take a guess and just deflect. And all of Stacy's friends would walk away thinking, or at least one of them that still gives me crap about it, that he thought I was a complete a-hole because, but I was just trying to survive. I mean, if I now was in a situation, I'd be like, everyone, I cannot hear you, so count me out of the conversation. But I didn't have the confidence in that moment. Anyway, it's just a sparked memory.
I would kill to get her to watch that, but I can't. She hates horror movies and scary stuff. But yeah.
Oh my God.
I know I'm jealous person, but when Melanie started talking with Brandon about, you remember something like, haha, it's something like this. I'm like, I don't care. I don't understand your past life because I'm not still your past life.
Okay, so she said something interesting. She said, I know I'm a jealous person. Okay, that's good. That's a step in the right direction. But how much awareness does she have? Or does she just say that and say, but anyway, I'm going to, operate from a jealous place without any thought to the rationality of it or the fairness of it? Or does she actually say, you know what, I'm a jealous person. Maybe I'm being unfair, or maybe my view is distorted here. Maybe there's something going on here. Now, again, under most common or polite circumstances, you don't want to exclude someone out of a conversation like this. So, it's normal to be a little bit miffed.
Talking about what happened right now. Talking about our life right now. I guess if we stand up and go, like not one no, like we just leave. It's like we stay here, maybe we want to talk together.
Awkward. Jeez. Okay, so let's say she has all those feelings, and let's say they left a lot out because they're editing this. You probably want to wait until the end of the night and say, hey, honey, I just want to talk with you about what just happened in there. You know, you can have a conversation then, but here, because what you're doing is essentially the friend is now going to hate her. And so now there's this rift where Brandon's friend now thinks of, Julia as this wacko person, and that's not helpful. So I wonder what is going through Julia's mind in this moment.
Hey, deserving listeners, as y'all know, I am constantly recommending that people go to therapy. We all need therapy from time to time. Well, one of the options available that is definitely worth checking out is BetterHelp. If you're looking for a therapist, I would give it a try by going to betterhelp.com/Kirk. Make sure you use the promo code Kirk because you get 10% off your first month, and it really helps us out. As you watch these videos, I know many of you have been motivated to find your own therapist, which is great because you deserve it. And I know also that it can be hard to find a good fit, find the right one for you. Well, one of the options available in terms of your shopping is to go to betterhelp.com/Kirk. I've been told you can start communicating with your therapist in under 24 hours. You can message your counselor at any time. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions. I've also been told that it's often less expensive than in-person therapy, and you should know that this service is available to clients worldwide. So go to betterhelp.com/Kirk to get 10% off your first month today.
Anyway, so
And then Brandon just blows it off, just says, anyway, moving on, as if he doesn't even care about her. So what could Brandon say? We can't imagine him saying anything like this, but he might say something like, oh, honey, I'm sorry. We've been impolite. We've been talking about old times. It's been a long time since I've seen her, and so I'm sorry. We shouldn't talk about things that are excluding you. And I get it. I've been there before. I feel you. Sorry about that. Okay, let's all talk together. He could have said something like that, even if he thought that Julia was being unfair, but he didn't. What he said, let's rewind that. He's just like, anyway.
Talk together.
anyway, so
Brandon's always had a type. They've always kind of looked like Julia, very thin, brunette, very bossy. Julia definitely fits that.
Interesting. Always love to get some background. Now, the friend might not be accurate, but at least from her perspective, Brandon has a type that, in terms of personality, bossy. So that would fit with the overall hypothesis that I have been working on. I don't know. I'd have to ask him if this is accurate. That due to having an invasive high control, or at least moderate control, mother and father, he is an enmeshed type of person who has a hard time existing in a relationship where there doesn't have that dynamic. Essentially what happens, there's a lot of different ways of looking at it, but one of the ways is like you have a high control parent and you just equate love with high control. The other thing that could be happening is you just believe that you're inherently incompetent and you need someone to boss you around in order to feel safe. But passive aggressively, you actually work against that because you actually don't want them to tell you what to do, but you kind of do want them to tell you what to do. You suck people in to tell you what to do. The other possibility is that you believe that in order to have a close relationship, you must have a overfunctioner, underfunctioner dynamic. That because that's the template for love that you see. Anyway, I could go on and on, but it's interesting that it looks as though, who knows, that Brandon had a very bossy set of parents throughout his life, well into his adult life, that are still bossing him around, and that throughout his life he has also been romantically attracted to, according to her, bossy individuals. And Julia is exhibiting bossiness, or at least what one could call bossiness, what I would call hypervigilance.
with, or
No, I mean, you had to take that chance. I mean, I understand that. I mean, but me and him have been together for 4.5 years, going on 5. I feel like I'm still finding things out. I mean, I just feel like maybe y'all maybe rushed into it way too quickly. I mean...
Now, this person is now exhibiting suboptimal social skills. What are you doing? You're telling these two people that just got married, you're like, I think the two of you rushed into it, and I don't know anything about you. I just found out about your relationship. But according to me, you rushed into it, and there's something wrong with the two of you. Okay, so what? And two, what are Julia and Brandon supposed to say to this? Now, if Brandon were smart, what he would say, because Julia is pissed off at this moment. If Brandon were smart, he would say something like, well, friend of mine, when I met Julia, it was pretty quick that I knew she was the one for me, and I love her so much, and I haven't regretted a single minute since. And so, yes, it was a bit fast, but I'm totally 100% into this relationship. I'm quite sure we're going to live forever and be happy, and I love her so much. That would be smart. Let's see what Brandon says.
Doesn't it seem like, you may be scared that one day she's going to be like, okay, well, I'm done. I got my visa and I'm good. I don't want his...
Yikes. And then exhibiting that xenophobic trope on this show that Americans, I guess it's the Americans that will exhibit that, oh, she's just in it for the green card.
Heart to get broken, and I just want to make sure that this is like exactly what you want.
And it's interesting that the friend said that Brandon has a lot of bossy women, and right now this friend is exhibiting what could be called domineering behavior. I don't know. A lot of people exhibit this behavior on the show.
I was trying to be really nice to her at first, just go into it with a completely open mind. But after seeing Julia's behavior tonight, those can be red flags. And I do know that she used to be a go-go dancer in Russia, so she's been around a lot of people and parties. So I don't know, it kind of worries me that she actually wants to be with him. Or
she was a dancer, a professional dancer, call him a go-go dancer, whatever. And essentially there was a hint of slut-shaming that she just said. I don't know, it sounded like it. And even if Julia had been with a number of different sexual or romantic partners, who cares? People have past relationships and have had sex before. It's fine. So, but just the idea that because she was a go-go dancer, that means that she's been around the block, if you know what I mean, a number of times is ridiculous. Just like, she had a job where she danced. That means nothing about her life outside of her job.
If maybe she's using him at this point. And I do know that there's a lot of people coming to America just to meet a guy just so they can stay here and get a visa and stuff. Y'all work at it?
If I use you for a green card, I not tell you I use him for a green card.
Again, what Brandon should say is, hey, friendo, no, Julia is not doing, I know, and I get that you care about me, and that's fine. But Julia would never do that. She's a genuine, nice, honest, good person. She would never do that. Brandon should say something along those lines.
I guess that's true. You probably wouldn't say it if you...
I feel like you should care about what his friends think about him.
I feel it's not your business, and it's my husband, and he...
Yeah, but we're just looking out for Brandon, you know what I mean? Yeah. Good, what's best for him, and...
So, in that old trope, it's the same things they say. So she's like, look, I'm just grilling you. I'm just accusing you of being a person, I don't want to use the words, terrible person who has sex all the time because you're a go-go dancer who is absolutely lying, and you tricked my friend into having sex with you and also getting married to you so you can get a green card. I'm just accusing you. Look, I'm just sticking up for my friend. That's all I'm doing. No, you're not. You're accusing another human being whom you don't know anything about and of some really horrible, horrible things. So that's not what you're doing. You're not just defending your friend. You're essentially accusing your friend of being ridiculous as well, like being tricked into it, So it's like, ugh.
I'm not come here for hear about me.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, what?
It's all right.
It's if you want take time with your friend,
Can't
stay
you just
with
be
your...
normal?
I'm normal.
So I think we can say that a lot of people made some mistakes, except for the guy in the hat. He didn't say a single word, and maybe he should have said something, I don't know. But at the very least, all three of them made some massive mistakes. They're all to blame for that situation.
question, like stupid question, like, I from get green card here, and like, we care about Brandon, I'm your friend. When Melanie start push me question, it's like explosion. I'm so tired hear this. And Brandon need to say stop. It's like wrong question, I guess it's not your business.
Right. I don't know if that's the exact response that I would recommend Brandon have, but yes, Brandon should have defended her and been like, no, we love each other. I know she loves me. She's a good person. She's not in it just for the green card. I know that about her. Brandon should have said something. But, it's hard to imagine Brandon saying something like that, right? All right, well, that does it for that episode. If you didn't know already, we have merch. You can click on the link below and get various different things, fun things, T-shirts and mugs and all sorts of stuff with all of my various different catchphrases that people, a lot of the ideas for the merch has come from y'all. You'll comment below and be like, you should have a Don't Be a Jerk Face merch. And then Podwife goes and designs it, and it's up on the thing, and you can buy it, and I bought it, and I wear a shirt around that says Don't Be a Jerk Face, and it's good. And everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.